after a 2-hour paddle with my heavily packed kayak and several failed attempts to locate my campsite, I finally arrived.
I see it. I see it. I wish you guys could see it. It's so beautiful. It's the sign that says 38. Oh, we're here.
An inauspicious start to my first solo overnight experience, and right about now I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here?
The hardest part was just not knowing, where the hell to go. And she said they weren't marked, all of them, but this one is definitely marked, so that's good.
I vaguely remember what I believe were the initial events that led to this moment. Sometime during the month of October, in the year 2020, I experienced a dramatic shift in perspective that would alter the course of my life from that day forward. I guess you could say I was red-pilled. I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment, but I don't want to lose the plot. This is a camping story. My first ever solo overnight kayak adventure. When I rolled in, I was brimming with confidence.
First one's here. We're here at Round Valley Reservoir. I just checked in at the office behind me there. If I can make it to my campground, light a fire, put my tent up, sleep, and just basically get through the evening, that's a B right there. That is a B. I'm grading that a B. I brought rice, but if I could put some protein on the table, then the grade goes up. Panfish, I'll give myself a B+. Bass, brown trout, or rainbow, I'll give myself an A. If I could put a lake trout on the table, that is an A+. This looks like the spot. Just gonna launch here, head towards that dam. Camping is down that way. We'll see. This is what we're dealing with here.
That confidence would take a hit before I even got on the water.
I'm already thinking that I packed too much, and also I couldn't find my good hat, so I'm wearing this goofy orange hunting hat. Luckily I found that. Hopefully the hats are in there somewhere. I have no idea where I put them. I can't remember.
So right off the bat, organization was a problem. Although I took great care to pack everything I could possibly need for camping, fishing, as well as filming, I had no idea where anything was. The goofy orange hat was the least of my problems. I was also unable to locate the sunscreen or my paracord, leaving my brand new action cam to depend on a bungee and some 14-pound test. Nonetheless, we pressed on.
There's that peak. I'm about halfway down that slope as it slopes to the left.
The closer I got to my landmarks, the less distinguishable they appeared to be. And excessive sun exposure was beginning to feel like a potential problem. I improvised.
Taking a quick breather. All right, let's do it. Got the t-shirt on the head now. I'm hoping it's where those dark green pines are. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you can tell where these campsites are. She said you just gotta park and look, but I haven't seen a picnic table yet. Oh, maybe that's one. I'm not sure. I just landed. I saw a picnic table over there, so I'm gonna go check it out, see if I can get a number on the site. As soon as I started to pull in, I noticed something running. I'm like, whoa, what is that? Coyote or something? Mountain lion. It was just a deer, a bunch of deer. All right, I found 2 campsites. What am I missing? How do I tell what number campsite this is? I mean, it's just a fire pit. Am I missing something? Wait, here is a trail. I see signs. These things gotta tell me what site I'm at. Why would they put it all the way up on the trail when you have boaters coming in? Insane. Please let these signs show me something. Okay, as I suspected, 16 and 17, I stopped way too early. I should have just went to my spot with those pine trees. I was probably on the right track. But okay, we got a visual.
With fatigue and frustration setting in, I pulled over for a second time.
Parked again. I don't even know if this is a trail.
It was not a trail, and my morale was sinking fast. I don't have much footage of this, as filming became secondary to simply enduring the punishment. Little did I know, I was close to a reprieve.
I see it. I see it. I wish you guys could see it. It's so beautiful. It's the sign that says 38. We're here. Oh, yes.
Now, I believe I left an unanswered question, so allow me to address that while I unload. What does camping in 2025 have to do with some alleged awakening in 2020? Well, let me start by explaining what I mean by red-pilled. Trying to find an agenda-free explanation of the red pill concept could in fact cause a person to be red-pilled. While I doubt Wikipedia will provide the most useful definition, I'm betting it will provide an excellent opportunity for example. This looks promising. The terms red pill and blue pill refer to a choice between the willingness to learn a potentially unsettling truth by taking the red pill or remaining in contented ignorance with the blue pill. The terms refer to a scene in the 1999 film, The Matrix. Let's explore a little further. The concept of red pills and blue pills has since been widely used as a political metaphor in the United States, especially among online culture, where taking the red pill or being red-pilled means becoming aware of purported political biases inherent in society, including in the mainstream media, and supposedly thereby becoming an independent thinker. While taking the blue pill or being blue-pilled means unquestioningly accepting those purported biases. The supposed truths revealed to those who refer to themselves as red-pilled often include conspiracy theories, fair enough, as well as anti-Semitic, white supremacist, homophobic, and misogynistic beliefs. As expected, here's that opportunity for example. As someone who suffers from this affliction, I understand that the once great Wikipedia, founded by good people with good intentions, has since been commandeered and is now filthy with globalist propaganda bullshit. That's what it means to be red-pilled.
If only one version of the facts is allowed, then that gives a huge incentive to wealthy and powerful people to seize control of things like Wikipedia in order to shore up their power, and they do that.
But enough about that for now. I gotta pitch a tent.
Okay, this is amusing. I was just about to pop in those steaks and thing blew over. For my buddy who thought I wasn't going to use this fry pan, here you go.
So organization continued to be a problem. The hatchet I planned to hammer in steaks with was back on the kayak at the edge of the water. Luckily, I had a very heavy carbon steel fry pan.
That's the bad boy.
Due to my ambitious plan to camp, catch, and cook.
Going straight to what got us here, the old cast master.
But like the great Mike Tyson once eloquently articulated, everyone has a plan, till they get punched in the mouth.
It's 3:56. I am exhausted. Have yet to drop a line in.
But my fishing strategy was solid. Use small spoons and spinners to troll for rainbow and brown trout while moving from location to location. With the help of this contour map and my handheld depth finder, locate steep drop-offs in the 60 to 80 foot range. Once identified, jig for lake trout using a variety of lures including spoons and swim baits. If no action in a few hours, move shallower to target smallmouth bass relating to cover. "44 minutes later, parts 1 and 3 of that strategy went out the window.
Oh, God darn, this PDF is annoying. Versional PDF. PFD.
It was Hail Mary time. I tied on a Castmaster and hoped for a miracle. I managed to get a line in the water just before 5 p.m., about 3 hours behind my original schedule. This lull in the action seems like the perfect time to answer this video's second most important question. What is the unsettling truth that I've come to accept? Basically, that when it comes to how this world works, I was completely clueless. According to Google, a perceptual lens is a metaphorical term that describes the way we perceive and interpret the world around us, influenced by our experiences, beliefs, and biases. It's like looking through a specific filter, shaping how we see and understand situations. In 2020, I realized my perceptual lens was jacked. How can one tell? The same way you can tell when your optical lens is jacked. You can't see shit. Or more accurately stated, you can't make sense of the information you're observing. In the case of an optical lens, you may realize you're looking at a bunch of words, but you can't tell what they say. You get your eyes checked, the optometrist drops those improved lenses in front of your peepers, and lo and behold, clarity. You know instantly and intuitively that the new lens is superior to the old. The optometrist doesn't have to convince you. You just know. A lens that allows you to make more sense of the information is better. In much the same way, I knew my perceptual lens was jacked because I couldn't make sense of what was going on in the world. Things just didn't add up. The actions by my government, other world leaders, as well as the mainstream media appeared to indicate a pattern of deception and manipulation beyond what my existing paradigm could decipher. What did I do next? Something we were all advised not to do. I did my own research. I began to question my beliefs and biases. I began to try on new beliefs and test them out. Through that iterative process, I gradually stumbled upon the perceptual lens that would wake me from that deep slumber and restore the clarity I've been seeking. When I looked at the world through this new lens of perception, my recognition of its superiority was as intuitive as the recognition of a superior optical lens. I just knew a lens that enables you to make more sense of the incoming information will always win out. Unfortunately, it was a pretty terrifying realization, at least at first, until I got used to it. This doesn't capture everything, but my old lens looked a little something like this. Throughout the world, we have nations. Each nation has citizens and a government. In a nation like the United States, the citizens exercise some power over the government in that the government officials are elected. Those officials exert power over the citizens by creating laws, rules, and regulations, hopefully within the confines of our written constitution. They also empower government agencies, which exert more power over the citizens by creating additional laws, rules, and regulations. But that's okay, because the media, which consists of the free press and the entertainment industry, is working tirelessly on behalf of the citizens to make sure the government stays on the up and up. I watched All the President's Men. Two scrappy, upstart, investigative journalists bring down a corrupt President Nixon, or so we were told. Well, I bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. That reminds me. Let's check on the action.
I had my first bite. I did not set the hook properly. Damn. I just didn't set it hard enough, I guess. Just sweeped it.
Was I aware there were a few oligarchs out there throwing their weight around? Absolutely. But it seemed like a fact of life that wasn't worth getting riled up about. I was living a good life. Did I know my government occasionally lied to me? Hell yeah. My 8th grade social studies teacher introduced us to the JFK conspiracy, and I've been fascinated ever since. And I knew from day one that WMDs were a lie. However, and this is embarrassing to admit, part of me still believed that in some twisted way, at the bottom of it all, there were pro-American intentions at play. You know, the way a parent might lie to a child believing it to be in the child's best interest. I know, pretty damn foolish and probably the biggest error in my old lens of perception. Of course, throughout the world there are many nations, some with a very similar style of government, some with a very different style, but each is independently duking it out on the world stage pursuing their own national interests. Or so I once believed. That paradigm could not explain what I witnessed from 2020 to 2021. Why were so many countries acting in a similar fashion against all logic and against their own national interests? It could not be a coincidence. What was I missing? The answer was simple, but kind of blew my mind. It seems at some point in human history, a bunch of elite power players, bankers, royals, other oligarchs, etc., formed a little club to advance their interests. Now, over the years, this power faction has been referred to by many names. The powers that be, the global elite, the Committee of 300, the elite cabal, the Illuminati, my favorite, the parasitic elite, and the one I'll use in the rest of this video, the globalists. Why the globalists? Because the name hints at the nature of their agenda. Over the years, this group has been able to establish a tremendous amount of control over the government, other oligarchs, almost complete control over the major intelligence agencies, and most importantly, control over what I now refer to as the mainstream media. This chokehold on power and information allowed them to remain in the shadows while exerting an ever-increasing degree of control over the unsuspecting citizens. And I mean the citizens of the world. Sure, there were a growing number of people who saw through it, but not enough to pose a significant threat. That changed in 2020. I believe that aggressive global health crisis operation, you know the one I'm talking about, led to millions of people having an experience similar to the one I described. So what is it that the globalists want? Oh, no big deal. Just to drastically transform society and form a new world order, complete with a new social contract for its citizens. Sorry, no more constitution and don't expect much freedom. This transformed society will be centrally governed, or globally governed if you prefer, collectivist, and ruled over with technology-enforced authoritarianism. If you haven't noticed the advancement of this agenda playing out around the world, subscribe. So why is this lens superior? What does it allow me to do? For one thing, better recognize lies. It's hard to sniff out a lie when you can't even imagine a motive. I think that's why there's still so many in the dark. Now that I understand the power this group has, as well as the agenda they are pursuing, I can easily see that this is a lie.
This is becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
We need to shun those that refuse to get vaccinated.
The unvaccinated people have put us in the position that we're in now, and it is not a good place.
The only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated, and they're killing people.
This is a lie.
Hi, I'm Christine Ulm, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Get a real ID. These IDs keep our country safe.
This is a lie.
Nobody knows how to get rid of
No one knows how to get cows to stop farting.
exactly or burping. And so there is artificial meat, but that's at a very early stage. But that's another big source of greenhouse gas emission.
And this is... Well, I don't know what this is, but it's certainly terrifying. From what I can tell, every mainstream narrative that purports to have a global impact was fabricated for this purpose. I don't cover every story, but every story I do cover, I cover because I find it to be relevant within the context of this worldview.
I think I gotta call it. It is it's like 6:45, 6:50, and I'm tired. I had one bite, missed it. It was better than a bite. It was on there for like 3 seconds. It wasn't like a nip. It was, had it in its mouth. We didn't get it done with the fishing. It was tough. Got out there late. I feel like I did a decent job and got a bite. Actually had him on for about 3 seconds and just didn't set the hook hard enough. But I'd love to say I'm gonna get him tomorrow, but I've never been more exhausted. I am so beat from doing this. I underestimated how hard this would be, but it's worth the experience. And I'm about to get some firewood, make a fire, heat up my rice, and make myself a campsite cocktail.
Now, since the red pill term began to find a useful place in our vernacular, several additional flavors of the metaphor have evolved. To be black-pilled means to be awakened to this unsettling truth and see the future dystopia as inevitable. To be white-pilled means to believe that freedom-loving humanity will ultimately prevail. By the end of 2020, I was most definitely black-pilled. This state of mind stirred in me a desire to get better at surviving harsh conditions. Suddenly, I wanted to learn how to fish. I mean, really learn. Not from a boat with forward-facing sonar, but from a beach. I got interested in bushcraft and even hunting. Is it realistic to think you can thrive in dystopia with this skill set? Probably not, but it can't hurt.
This might look like Jameson, but it's actually sesame oil. Okay. All right.
And this seems like the perfect time to answer this video's most important question. What the hell am I doing here? Well, I've since become much more optimistic, if not completely, white-pilled. That being said, the desire to expand my comfort zone or increase my discomfort tolerance has remained. And that is why I find myself alone in the woods with 310 calories worth of rice.
Okay.
Make that 280 calories worth of rice.
It's coming out. Yeah, it's good. It's rice. A little crunchy. Needs more salt. Oh yeah. Load up. This would go very well with some trout, that's for sure. I suppose it's worth it. You don't get to see this too often.
The following morning was calm and peaceful. I briefly attempted to catch some breakfast, but dehydration caused me to cut that effort short.
We're all packed up. Probably got about an hour and a half paddle back to the parking lot. Then I gotta do the whole thing with the packing up the car, and then an hour and a half drive home. So I got a long journey before I'm home, so I better get going. Goodbye, 38. Bring more water. I brought the amount I would typically consume in that time frame, not realizing that under the hot sun with all that exertion, I would need about twice as much. I earned my B. Wish I could have done a little better, but that's the hardest I've worked for a B in a long time. I am wiped out, and I can't wait. I can't wait to get some food. Can't wait to get some more water. I think I have one in the car, thank goodness. Can't wait to get a nap. Can't wait to take a nap. That's right.
Now, for you seasoned outdoor types, this may not have seemed like much of an adventure, but for me, it was one heck of a test. If you had asked me during my return paddle, would I do it again? I would have said no. But upon reflection, I have a growing appreciation for this experience and would definitely give this test another shot. If for no other reason, then I know I can score higher. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. See you soon.